Hi, I'm Shivam,
Hi, I'm Izzy,
and this is PhoenixChat.
where one of us can read.
Which one?
You find out.
Yes.
Yay!
Oh, man. No sense in wasting any sort of time so we can
Of
relish every
course not.
single moment of Juliet's biggest fuck up. As you guys, we last left off, you guys left the mines after raiding Mr. Salt's office. You found a little bit of, like, stuff and some money and stuff like that, and you started racing back towards the town because, you wanted to see if Hope's Landing was alive or not. Yeah,
To be completely honest, I thought everybody was gonna be dead, except for, like, Mom, Boondock, and Lucky. I thought everybody was gonna die. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, God, I don't know what's gonna happen. Because we didn't know Shivam's system either. We were just like, okay, let's just, get back in time, make sure everybody's, like, not dead.
Yeah, so you guys race back to town, just at breakneck speed, kind of assuming the absolute worst.
Yep.
I then made a roll in the Discord channel, and then didn't really tell anyone what the roll meant. So again, and I mentioned this earlier, I had a system where, like, everything they did in order to help the town would, like, increase the modifier of this roll, and then anything they would do to, like, have to make the town, like, spend more time defending it, or, like, the more, like, the short rest and long rest they took, I would decrease that modifier by a little or a lot. Thankfully, though, you guys, like, you did a lot to, like, actually help the town. You actually strategized some, like, very good, like, reasons and stuff like that, trained people and gave them supplies, and you also, like, in the dungeon, you only took, like, 2 short rests and didn't have to take any sort of long rest.
And we would all kill you if anything happened to Mom Boondock. I would just like to point that out.
Yeah. So I rolled kind of a middling number, but you guys' modifier was high enough that, like, things were fairly okay. You stormed back to town and you saw that, like, the buildings and stuff were kind of smashed, and there was very few buildings that didn't have, like, a lot of damage to them.
And we were all like, oh, that's fucking fine, nobody cares about the buildings.
Yeah, but as you're kind of, like, storming through town on horseback, you see that, like, a lot of the people are still, like, fighting back, and, like, there's lots of, like, undead bodies that are just, like, out and about in the town. There's some buildings that are on fire, but, like, for the most part, you guys didn't see any, like, of the townspeople's bodies around town. So you start storming around. You eventually get to, like, the midpoint of town, like, near the tavern. Ma Boondock had set up a like, healing area, and you could see, like, some people were injured, but it didn't seem like anybody was like, dead or out of it. And Ma just kind of, like, looked at you guys with, like, a look of relief and just kind of said, like, Lucky's over a little bit, like, west of town. He went there with the assassin and Festus. You go, like, help him see if he's okay. As you guys stormed over to that building, I believe, like I described it as, like, you guys walked up to it and you guys literally just, like, saw, like, a fireball exploding inside of the building.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and so, like, fucking, like, double timed it over there, like, Boondock's, like, about to fucking burst a blood vessel before, Boondock sees that, from, like, the smoke and the flames of the building, that, I believe that Lucky is currently helping Festus get out of the building.
I think at that point, Juliet rushed over because she has already attached herself to Festus, because she's like, oh my god, my drinking buddy, no!
Yeah, and so, Festus can't use one of his legs right now, but besides that, he's alive, and, like, Lucky seems, like, scratched up and kind of burnt, but also just, like, alive. And then Lucky kind of explains, like, yeah, nope, turns out the assassin was a shithead all along, because as soon as she got the chance, she immediately tried to kill me, but got kind of lucky, and Festus manages to take a bullet for me, and I managed to shoot the assassin, so I think she's currently dead and burning up in the building over there. As Boondock, just like unable to fucking hold it back any longer, just wraps up Festus and Lucky in this big bear hug. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. It was very like just this like nice sweet moment. You guys then like keep storming through town, trying to like look for any more survivors. If you found survivors, you pointed them towards where Mount Boondock was, and took out the few remaining undead. And as you guys sweep the town like once more, you feel like there aren't any more like people you missed, and there aren't any more like zombies wandering about. So you regroup with Ma Boondock. Ma is currently healing people, and as Boondock takes a quick like head count of the town, he sees all the people he expects to see. You guys did it. You defended the town of Hope's Landing without losing a single person.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah. Do you want to go ahead and explain what happened after this, as everyone kind of breathes out a big sigh of relief here?
So basically what we did is I think Mom Boondock is the one who set up like a medical camp, and I think we just like finished up what she had started with just patching up everybody in the town. After everything was said and done, and Mom Boondock was talking with us, like, what happened? I pull out my mayonnaise jar. And in this jar had 200 gold that I found. The eyeballs from Mr. Salt, and also ectoplasm from the ghost that I shoved in there. And I was so damn proud. I'm like, look, I have your eyeballs. And she's like, okay. And then she took out the coins and gave them to me. And I looked at Boondock, I'm like, am I allowed to have this now? And he's like, fine. And I was like, that's what I thought. And I put it in my coin thing. And then Ma Boondock put my jar of eyeballs on like her fireplace mantle thing. And I was like, yes! Validation from a mother figure. Couldn't be me.
Oh my god. Yeah. I love that because my mental picture is that like, you know, there's like all these keepsakes and pictures and paintings and stuff like that. Like, maybe like some things that like Lucky and Boondock made when they were kids, but also just like a mayonnaise jar that has 2 eyeballs with some ectoplasm on it that shares the same amount of importance.
Wait, so if Ma Boondock unofficially adopts me, does that make me Boondock's sister?
Oh, bring that up to Boondock, see how they feel about that.
I fucking hope so.
Oh my god. Yeah, and Lucky at this point, after he's healed up, he kind of walks up to Boondock and kind of explains, like, yeah, the townsfolk are here, but like, I feel bad that we couldn't do more for the town. As they kind of look around, they see like most of the buildings are like burning, and like the buildings that aren't burning just have like severe amounts of damage. There's going to be a lot of rebuilding they need to do. And Boondock just immediately just like it doesn't like really matter that much, as Ma wraps Lucky and Boondock up in a hug and says like, well, I mean, what are you talking about? The town, as I see it, is right here, as she points out to everyone who's standing in the town square. Yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, but Boondock and Lucky just both kind of just, like, tear up a little bit as they kind of just, like, smile, and everyone's just having, like, a pretty good time, as everyone kind of realizes, well, we're gonna have a nice long rest, and then in the morning, I guess we gotta restart rebuilding the town. So yeah, you guys, I believe everyone kind of camps out under the stars, and then
this is how I pictured it. I think we all pretty much fucking passed out on one another, because it was, like, we were pretty much been going non-stop since that day, and then we went and fought, like, I don't know how many things, and then we, like, passed the fuck out.
Yeah. So the party just all kind of collapses onto each other as the rest of the town just kind of sets up camp around you guys. You guys have a very well-deserved long rest. Get up in the morning to a nice, like, southern breakfast of, like, grits and biscuits. And as you guys are eating breakfast, you, Boondock has a scene with Ma, right before you guys wake up, actually.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
So, Boondock gets up before everyone else, and Ma, who is also up, just kind of like silently waves him over and hands him a cup of coffee. And for a little while, they just kind of sit there in silence for a little bit before Boondock kind of starts to explain just like that Boondock saw Pa, and Boondock actually got to properly say goodbye. At this point, Ma just kind of has... Through Juliet. Yeah. Ma just kind of has tears in her eyes at this point as she kind of just says, like, I know for damn well that Pa would be just so proud of you if he could see you right now. The whole party is, like, asleep, but the players are just, like, sobbing in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so Boondock kind of just finally looks at the guitar that Pa finally properly gave them. As Ma just kind of says, like, you know, that guitar is yours now properly. It should have always been yours. And I know for a fact that Pa would have wanted you to have it. And Ma also kind of just apologizes a little bit for, like, because she always wanted someone to protect the town of Hope's Landing, because Boondock was still a kid when they were thrust into that role, but, you know, they couldn't. I mean, Boondock was always going to end up being the sheriff. It didn't matter if it was now or later. They were always going to end up doing it. And so, they have this heart-to-heart with Ma, and they finish it off by Ma asking them, well, do you want to play that song that Pa taught you? And as the rest of you guys wake up in the morning, you wake up to the sound of Boondock playing guitar as Ma sings.
Yeah. And then we all ate breakfast, and everything was fine. Nothing happened.
Okay, I guess I'll explain this next part then. So, you guys all ate breakfast, and everyone else besides Juliet was fine, because, as Juliet finishes the breakfast, Boondock's like, hey, Juliet, can I talk to you for a second? And Juliet's like, yeah, sure, what's up? As Boondock explains, well, Mr. Salt was kind of like a piece of shit, and like he was also breaking the law and everything like that, but also like the laws of Hope's Landing say you can't just like break into someone's like business like that. So Boondock looks you dead in the eye and says, as the sheriff of Hope's Landing, I hereby sentence you to jail time. As you just kind of...
I was so pissed. Okay, I was like, are you fucking serious? After all of the shit that I helped you do, like, I stopped the Hydra gang, I testimonied in court for this bullshit, I didn't have to do any of this. Our job was to find the fucking library and get out of there. We didn't have to fucking do all of this shit, but I stayed for you. I robbed your dad's grave for you. I let your dad possess me for you. I fucking went in there against that Sin Hydra and Legion for all of this town so they wouldn't die. And you want to go around and tell me that I'm arrested for this bullshit when he was a dickhead and did all of this shit? Okay, yeah, buddy.
So, Boondock kind of feels, like, slightly bad about this, but, like, also explains, like, well, because you did actually help, like, defend the town of Hope's Landing and, you know, did all that stuff, you're not going to be jailed for as long as you would normally be. All you have to do is just, like, community service until you guys can get the supplies that you need, to head to your next destination.
And she agreed to that because she was like, oh, okay, that's fine. Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? Rebuild the bar. Wait, what? And she's gone.
Yeah. Julia immediately sprints towards it, just, like, having no actual, like, building experience whatsoever, but just, like, she needs to rebuild the bar, so she found a way.
I remember that while rebuilding the bar, I was looking around to see if there was any alcohol whatsoever, and we found 2 kegs. And you know, it's funny because this kind of shows like Juliet's not just a fucking asshole all the time. She took one of the kegs and like rolled it over to where Festus was, and because he couldn't walk or anything, he was still like, you know, on medical stuff, and she was like, "Here you go, buddy. It's on me," and kept the keg. Like, I think she drank the other keg dry. I don't remember what happened, but she did not take anything from Festus's though. She gave that to him completely.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, that was good. And so Festus kind of like cheers at you before drinking one sip of the beer and immediately passing out.
Pretty much.
Oh my god.
And then I think at that point, like, everybody in the party was like, you know, helping rebuild the bar and like doing all this other stuff. And then while we were doing that, Faith finally charges in, like, okay, where's the fire? And like all of these, like, all of the townsfolk that had retreated were like, oh, it's cool, we killed everyone. What? Yeah, we're good. And she's like, well, what the hell happened? And we're like, there's a lot of shit that happened, but okay. Basically, once we finished building the bar, it was around like nighttime, and we all decided to go in and talk with Faith, like have pretty much a meeting with Faith in Ma Boondock. And so we told her everything that happened. I think we also called Cass and told him what was going on too. Okay. So we basically told him all what happened, and Faith was like, okay, why don't you guys go to Soliana? You could find a true sightseeing. You could hire somebody to do a true sightseeing potion, so you can differentiate who's the doppelganger and who's not. We're like, oh, okay, cool, that makes sense. And she tells us Soliana is like this place of like scientists, like the Ibis Cognoscius Guild, like scientist shit, science, that, where you could basically get anything you want altered on yourself. So you can get night vision, you can change your gender, you can get wings on your back, anything. And we're like, oh, sick. And then Cass brings up the something super fucking interesting.
Yeah, so
go ahead.
Boondock wanted to know if like the Oracle could also be shitty too, because like Mr. Salt had information on the Oracle, and Mr. Salt effectively funded the Oracle. So like if the Oracle like had connections with Mr. Salt and Mr. Salt was shitty, then like there was a very good chance that the Oracle could also be shitty. And so Cass explained that like the Oracle is probably not evil, but she's definitely extremely pragmatic, and like her actions can seem extreme. She does things for the greater good, but like it can be like some very morally questionable things. So for example, she had a prophecy when Cass was much younger, and her prophecy was effectively that this child that was born, the child would eventually grow up in order to be possessed by this horrible demonic entity. And because that the child would be possessed, the best thing to do would be to kill the child right now before it could be grow that kind of powerful. And so Cass, of course, refused, saying that the child hadn't done anything wrong quite yet, and like there was a chance that the Oracle could be wrong. And so Cass tried to do everything in his power in order to prevent that fate from occurring, but like turns out that fate was inevitable because the child eventually did end up getting possessed by the demon, and Cass ended up having to take the kid down much later. And so with that though, the same day that Cass had to kill the person possessed, Juliet remembers that there was one day in the Jackal's Den where Cass kind of came back just like completely fucking out of it, just not looking good whatsoever, didn't really talk to anyone, just went to his office. And Juliet realizes that was the day that all of this happened. So if you want to go ahead and explain.
So basically how Juliet views Cass is like a father figure, because Cass is the one who took her away from her really bad like past. He's the one who like got her this job, who has cared for her from the beginning, ever since she became a member of the guild and whenever she got to Phoenix Heart. Like, this man has always been there for her, and she has pretty much told him everything there is about her. And she assumed that he also confided in her just as much as she did to him. Well, hearing this, she felt so fucking betrayed. Like, this is something huge, and he never told her about it. And she wasn't mad about the fact that he had to kill a kid. That isn't something she would be mad about, because, like, people have to make really tough decisions all the time, especially in that guild in particular. So she wasn't mad about that. She was more mad about the fact he never told her about any of this. And so I don't remember what exactly I said, but it even made you feel bad, and it was amazing. It was basically a big old fuck you to Cass, and she basically stormed out of the bar and headed toward that fountain in Hope's Landing, and Hops went and followed her.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, so the Cass, or I believe, like, Faith tried to kind of, like, follow you to try and see if she could, like, reason with you. But Cass immediately stopped Faith just because, kind of like, yeah, no, give Juliet some space here.
Yeah.
And so Cass and Juliet explained to the rest of the party, so your next mission then is to head up to Soliana and get this True Sight potion. And in order to get to Soliana, you're going to need to trek through the mountains, which is going to take a bit of time. And also, because you're going to be traveling by wagon, you're going to need winter clothes, because Soliana is up north in the mountains, so it's going to be a very cold, snowy place. So I believe Cass at this point put in, like, orders for some snow clothes for you guys, and you guys were then going to wait around Hope's Landing for a little bit, rebuild the town, while you waited for that order to come in.
Yeah.
And then I believe at this point, Essen went to go talk to Juliet, if you want to explain what happened there.
Well, before that happened, everybody but Hops and Juliet, obviously, they all went to go help Faith with Petunia, who is Tyson's little sister who needed the surgery. Was Faith the doctor?
Faith is the doctor, yes.
Yes.
And then Faith also brought an accountant, because, one, I explained there's, like, some money and stuff with the guild so they can use for projects like these, so Faith didn't charge Titus and Petunia for this very expensive treatment, because the accountant was there to, like, figure out some sort of, like, the amount of money that the guilds could pour into this sort of outreach program. And so with that, though, I also set up this accountant NPC because you guys found a ledger in Reverend Salt's office, and so I figured you guys would make the connection. Accountant, ledger. Accountant,
we should give it to
ledger.
him. Yeah. Did we? No.
Yep. So I set up this entire NPC. He was a half-orc named Craig Bloodfang.
Yeah.
I even had a fucking backstory for him too. Back in Phoenix Heart, he also has a husband called Dave Bloodhoof, who's a Minotaur. And they formed the Fang and Hoof Law Associates. There was this entire little, like, backstory I had prepared, and you guys just never questioned anything to Craig.
Okay, to be fair, Boondock is the one who had the ledger. Boondock did not make this connection.
Yeah. It was nice. It was great. Loved all of that. Yeah, so Faith is currently going to spend a little bit of time in Hope's Landing, then curing Petunia. Yeah, and then at that point, Essen goes off to talk to Juliet.
Yes. So Juliet is being all angsty and pouty at the fountain, and Essen comes over and is like, hey, and she's like, I don't want to fucking talk. Do not talk to me. And he's like, okay, I won't talk, I'll just listen. And I was like, that's bullshit. Whatever, I'm just pissed. And he's like, I don't remember what exactly Essen said, but it was like a fucking brilliant speech. I'm like, damn, Essen out here with the speeches. But what did he say? I can't even remember. It was like, geez, I'm having like a brain fart. It was basically just super uplifting. Like, look, I know that you have really bad trust issues, and it feels like people have betrayed you recently. And I was like, you fucking think? And he's like, but you need to listen here when I say that we're all here for you, and we're all here to help you. I don't think Cass meant to do that, and I'm sorry that he hurt you so bad. But I'm pretty sure he never meant to hurt you in any way, shape, or form. And I can't remember what else was said, but I was like, wow. Okay. Nice. And then Juliet kissed him and shook everybody. We're like, oh shit! The ship has begun! And finally, the three of them, because Hops was also there, like, my godparents! What are you doing? We're like, it's fine. Chill. So we head back to the tavern after Juliet calmed down a little bit. And everybody was pretty much gathering up in there, even though there was no alcohol, sadly. We found out Ma Boondock does tattoos!
Yeah. And so Essen wanted to get an angel wing tattoo finished. And so, but before you guys added to the tavern, I believe was this the point that Boondock gave their big speech?
Well, we got to the tavern when Boondock made the speech.
Okay.
So, how it happened was, we got to the tavern, Ma Boondock was currently giving Morgan a tattoo, which I jokingly said get a tramp stamp, and he was so on board with it, and I was like, no, wait, do not get a tramp stamp, please. Instead, he got, I think a zombie head being lassoed or something on his arm, on his not sleeved arm. And I think Juliet just got the same, like, swirly sleeve she got, but on her thigh. Mm-hmm. And then Boondock gave the speech.
Yeah. So Boondock then gave a whole big speech, basically saying that, like, that they were always kind of, like, destined to be, like, sheriff here, but right now they currently have, like, this bigger mission going on, and right now the main thing that they need to do is stop the shapeshifter. So for the time being, Lucky is going to be the sheriff of Hope's Landing, which is something that Boondock never thought that he would willingly give up. But he basically promised to the townsfolk and everyone else, though, that, like, I'm heading out there, and I'm not gonna come back to the town until this world's a better place. And so the townsfolk are all just kind of, like, cheering Boondock on, like, go out there and give him hell, Boondock. All just kind of shouting, like, words of encouragement, as Lucky promises that they'll keep this town safe in the meantime, but Lucky doesn't think it'll be too hard, because it's not just him defending the town anymore, as the rest of the town also starts, like, cheering and saying, like, they'll defend the town to the bitter end.
Yeah, now they fucking do. Bitter.
Yeah.
Still bitter.
Oh, man.
If I don't get a plaque in that bar, I'll be pissed. Just saying. There better be one.
Noted.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's a very uplifting scene. Once again, all the players are just like, tears. Oh no, it's all very sweet and nice. As you guys head back into the tavern for the night, Essen kind of says to Ma, like, can you help me fix my angel wing tattoos and get those finished? And Ma agrees, and as Essen's getting the tattoo, they revealed something important about their characters. So, as they kind of realize that the relationship with Juliet's getting more serious, they realize that, they kind of have known for a while now that they are, the gender they want to be isn't the gender they were born as. So they asked Ma for a little bit of advice on, like, what they could do to fix that. And so Ma said to talk to Faith, and after Essen talked to Faith revealed that, in Soliana they can do, they can change your gender. So, yeah, as soon as you head up to Soliana, it should be, like, a fairly reasonable thing for you to change. So I believe that was the rest of the night then, as Essen then retired for the night and all of you slept until morning. You guys woke up, and then I had Morgan fix up your weapons. So, with all the materials that Morgan found in Reverend Salt's office, he was able to kind of start tinkering with like the weapons and stuff like that, and give you, I give this specifically Juliet a new little tool. So Juliet has the Produce Flame cantrip, but can't really use it too well. And so Morgan effectively gave her a new gun, where basically, instead of the gun requiring ammo, the gun requires Juliet to cast Produce Flame on the gun, so it stores up this, like, heated charge, and it can fire this, like, burst of flame that explodes at enemies. Yeah, and so I think Juliet at this point just, like, scooped up, Morgan in a hug.
Yeah, well, not only that, but, he also helped fix my, sword a little bit. Well, my kunai, really. So now I have this thing called Spirit Shackle, and basically I can sync, if I decide to, I can sync my kunai, so I'll lose it and it won't come back into my hand, into anybody I want. Well, not anybody, anything that I stab at. And I will know their weaknesses and their languages that they speak. And I was like, ah, sick, this is nice. And then I can't remember what Essen's upgrades were. What was that?
So Essen has not used any of their upgrades quite yet, but I upgraded their weapons so that they can use a bonus action to enter Lotus Dance, which means that like their whip does like AoE damage, but it does AoE damage to everyone. If they use this bonus action specifically, then their whip only affects enemies. And then in addition, they also have a special action. They can make one attack against every enemy in range. And if they do, they can risk, based on the amount of elemental damage they do, they can distribute the total amount of elemental damage as healing between everyone.
Hey, Essence player, if you're listening, what the fuck?
Yeah. I just want to know, could have done that at any point in time. Hasn't done it quite yet.
Especially last fucking week.
Yes, it would have been really useful last week.
Yeah, no fucking shit.
I think at this point Essen just says to Juliet, "Hey, want to spar?"
And I was like, "Fuck yeah, I want to spar." And then I had the bright fucking idea, "Hey, let's put a bet on this." And they're like, "Oh shit, what are we betting on?" And I was like, "I don't know, what do you got?" And he's like, "Tell you what." Or no, what did I say? I said, if I win, you have to pay my entire tab the next tavern we go to. And that's a fucking lot, considering Juliet's a goddamn alcoholic and can drink pretty much an entire bar dry if she really wanted to. And then Essen was like, okay, alright, fine. Tell you what, if I win, you owe me, what was it, like 50 gold or something like that? You owe me 50 gold, and I get to pet you whenever I want for the next 24 hours. I'm like, oh, fuck you. Fine, let's do it. And I fucking lost.
Yeah, like, it wasn't like a very close match either. You basically just got the fucking, like, shit beaten out of you.
However,
you
during
were able to
said
do a
fight,
thing.
I wanted to try that new thing, and I was like, okay, I Spirit Shackle Essen. I'm a fucking idiot!
Because I was sitting reeling at that because I realized, oh fuck, here's what happens. Because Essen isn't the only soul inside of Essen. Essen also has the Kieran inside of himself.
So not only did I stab Essen, but...
You stabbed the fucking Kieran!
I stabbed Kieran.
Yeah.
He was so
not only did you know all of Essen's languages, you now knew all of the Kieran's languages. So I'm like, okay, this is neat. So like, what languages does Juliet now learn? As I look up the fucking Kieran languages, and the Kieran languages are every single goddamn language, every single one. It just says all
of them.
And it's not just all languages. The Kieran also has telepathy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thankfully, it was just up until Juliet's next long rest, but for like a solid day, you knew every single language and could speak telepathically.
I think during that day I taught Essen Abyssal. Right?
You tried to teach Essen Abyssal because you now knew Abyssal.
Yeah.
You weren't
and then
able
I tried to
him,
read
like,
everybody's mind, and Morgan had a fly buzzing around in his brain.
Yeah.
Boondock had fax machine noises. I'm like, well, this is dumb.
I think Hops was Mario Kart music.
Yes. Hops was the Wii music, wasn't it?
Wii Shop music, that's what it was.
Yep.
Yeah. By the way, I will actually just admit, during this fight, like, it wasn't also just, like, a beatdown. I think, like, Essen managed to fucking knock you the fuck out.
Yeah. No, that's what we, undecidedly agree upon. We were like, alright, let's see who can knock each other out first. And I mean, I got some pretty good hits on Essen, but, like, yeah, I'm very squish.
You're very squishy, and also you're a rogue. You're not meant to 1v1 people.
Yeah. I tried,
You're very specifically not meant to do that.
Well, does Juliet know that? No.
Noted.
Not at all.
Yeah, so you guys spend the rest of the day patching Juliet up as Essen just begins to happily start patting Juliet's tail, confident in his victory, and just slightly smug about it as Juliet just tsunderes it up.
Yep, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we just helped rebuild most of the town after that, too.
Yeah. You guys were kept holding the town in the next morning. In the next morning, though, Faith decides that she wants to talk to Juliet.
Wrong choice.
Faith, if you hadn't noticed, what is in fact Cass's girlfriend, so, like, she really wants to, like, talk to Juliet and kind of explain, like, hey, I know that Cass is very important to you, and, like, you're definitely very important to Cass, so, like, he never meant to, like, hurt you with this sort of thing. But, like, as she's trying to, like, explain this, Juliet just progressively gets more, like, mad and unhinged about the entire situation.
Well, you gotta think of it like this, too, like, this man, who she thought was, like, a father to her, fucking betrayed her, and now your father's girlfriend wants to try and patch things up for him? Bro, no, that's so shitty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Juliet obviously does not take that very well, but, like, Faith does actually manage to get, like, a little bit of leeway by eventually just straight up saying, like, you are way more alike than you both realize. As Juliet just goes completely, like, feral at that.
Yeah, pretty much.
And Faith just kind of calls her bluff and says, alright then, if you want to be done with this, you can be done with this. And Cass doesn't have to talk to you anymore. And obviously Juliet's like, well, fucking you know that, like, that's, like, not what I want, but, like, fucking shut up.
She said, well, you still care about Cass, don't you? Like, you're not just gonna kick him to the curb. And she's like, shut the fuck up. You know the answer to that. I don't have to answer shit to you. And then left. And as she left, Essen decided, hey, I really like Juliet. I'm gonna learn how to make alcohol.
Yes. As you do for the alcoholic kitsune you like. Essen decides to ask the other alcoholic in town how to make
Festus.
beer. Yep. However, Essen does not know Festus's name. Essen kept calling Festus like Thomas or like Fergus, and just like
Fergus, yeah.
And so like as Essen keeps calling Festus Fergus, Festus is just getting like more and more like peeved, and eventually like, all right, fine, I'm gonna make a little prank here, because Festus starts going into the details of like, all right, you get like hops in a barrel, and as he says hops in a barrel, Essen says like, oh, like hopscotch, and the gears slowly, you hear like fax machine noises from Festus as Festus just immediately says, yes, that is exactly what I meant. You need to let your grung soak in a barrel for a little bit, and then give that alcohol to Juliet.
Which, obviously, is not how you make beer, because considering hops is a poisonous frog!
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so...
Who not only is a frog, frogs don't drink with their mouths, they drink through their skin! So when they put hops in this alcohol barrel, she is literally, like, consuming all of this alcohol at once. A 2-year-old.
Yeah, so, Juliet's just fucking, like, storming off from Faith and just sees in the distance as Essen walks out holding this barrel of beer that currently has Hops just kind of, like, feeling pretty goddamn drunk, just swimming around in the barrel. As Juliet just stares at Essen and she's like, what the fuck are you doing right now? As Essen says, oh, I'm making beer, you need to put Hops in a barrel.
And this is where she fucking lost it. And she was like, are you fucking serious right now? Nobody can drink that because Hops is poisonous. And Hops is like, good, it's my barrel. No one else can have my barrel. And I was like, no one else can have your barrel because you'll die. She's like, well, I'm not dead. I'm like, I'm not arguing right now. So she goes to Festus, pissed, and he's like, hey, I'm like, you fucker.
Just prank, bro. Just prank.
I trusted you. I thought we were friends. I gave you a keg. And he's like, it was just a joke. I'm like, well, quit fucking joking around. These idiots will believe it. Will you stop? At this point, you know how cats, when they get spooked, are really pissed off, like their tail poofs out? This was Juliet walking around, tail poofed out, pissed the fuck off about everything that has happened in the past 24 hours.
Yeah, so, Juliet storms off. Boondock is kind of chuckling at this entire experience.
Yeah, Boondock let it happen, mind you.
Yeah. And eventually, like, night falls. All of you guys have a nice little RP moment where Hop's still drunk and Morgan try to make cookies as Boondock tries to stop them from burning down the goddamn kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys make the worst cookies ever. And eventually, like, all settle in for the night. Except for Juliet. Juliet gets an idea, if you want to explain.
Okay, so, first of all, I was staying up because I decided I'm gonna actually make them real cookies and just replace the bad ones so it'll be fine. But then I get the idea, hey, what if Faith is hiding something? Or, like, what if I can find something out? So I decide to sneak out in the middle of the night and go to Tyson's house because that's where Faith is staying to, like, check up on Petunia. And so I'm, like, sneaking. I pick the lock, I head inside, I think nothing of it, and I'm starting to head up the stairs. Well, Faith starts coming down, and I was like, shit! So I go and hide. And Faith just goes over to Petunia and, like, you know, just checks up on her vitals and everything. So I start heading up the stairs again, and Tyson starts coming out, and I, shit! And I was like, how can I get out of this? Like, she's right there, and I'll get caught. So I panicked, and I poofed into a fox, and Tyson sees me, and he's like, what the fuck? Why is there a fox in here? And Faith is like, oh shit. And she, like, makes, mirror images of herself so, like, they can all, like, you know, scoot the fox out of the house. And I sprint outside, I'm like, shit! Not even thinking anything of it. And I waited until they closed the door, and I made sure that, like, the fox wasn't there before I headed back, because I thought, oh my god, if they see me head straight back to Mom Boondock's house, they're gonna know it's me.
Yeah,
and then the next morning happens.
Next morning happens. Boondock wakes up nice and bright and early, and Faith is also up pretty early. Says like, "Hey, Boondock, could you come over here for a second?" And she explains, "I am absolutely certain that I locked the door last night, but like the door was like open when I checked it, and there was a fox that was just like inside of like Titus's house. And it was one of those things where it's like Faith didn't think it was extremely weird to see a fox, but the main thing is that, you know, you guys have been targeted by a shape-shifting fucking serial killer who has done like some weird wild shit and has some weird wacky powers. So Faith's like, this is probably not any, like, it could just be nothing. I could just be paranoid. But also, do you mind if, like, if we gather, like, up the party members and I'll cast, like, divination to see, like, if I can get any more clues about who broke in or, like, what broke in here? And so, like, Boondock just said, like, what did the fox look like? And Faith explains, like, it was, like, a red fox. And Boondock just kind of sighs and says, it's Juliet. And Faith just says, are you sure? And Boondock says, yeah, there's no fucking red foxes out here in the goddamn desert. So Boondock walks off. Juliet's currently just working on rebuilding the house and just feels a menacing presence behind her as she turns to see Boondock, who's...
No, I didn't turn around. I knew Boondock was coming. I was just working harder to make sure I do not make eye contact.
Yeah. Juliet just erratically hammering, just don't turn around.
Don't turn around. He doesn't see you.
Yeah. As Boondock says, Juliet, can we talk for a second?
She's like, I'm kind of busy. I'm help building the house.
As Boondock just asks you point blank, did you break into Fate's house last night? And Juliet's just immediately like, you have no proof. Which
no
is
proof it was me.
Great defense.
Yep.
Yeah. Juliet immediately just it could have been like a fennec fox you saw or some shit like that, and just
fennec foxes are in the desert. You don't know.
Boondock just kind of sighs at you and just says okay, come on here, come clean. As Boondock just kind of yeah, Boondock says all right, we need to go down to the fucking sheriff's office to file a new report here. As you get an idea, and you say, oh, I have a really, smart idea here. And as you head down with Boondock, so Boondock and you waltz into the sheriff's office, and Lucky springs up and says, oh, Boondock and Juliet, just the two people I was looking for. And Lucky goes on to explain, I've been thinking, the salts were pieces of shit anyways, so I guess it really doesn't matter too much that Juliet stole something from them, and she was doing it for the greater good. And besides that, she was one of the people who helped save our town here, so I think that's worth something. So
and he was yeah, she's been help rebuilding the bar. She literally just helped make this house today. Man, she's doing a really good job. I think we should let her go on good behavior. As a player, felt so fucking bad. I was like, oh no, I feel bad. I was gonna be good.
As Boondock just walks off and just kind of says, and just walks behind Lucky like they own the place, and just starts pulling out a form. As Lucky explains ooh, why are you pulling out a breaking and entering form? And Lucky just kind of is joking around Boondock oh, who do we need to bust this time? As Boondock slowly fills out the form and slides it over to Lucky, and Lucky picks up the form, and on the form is Juliet, but spelled wrong.
Super wrong.
It's spelled Jooliette.
Juliet.
And Lucky, used to Boondock's bad spelling, just kind of looks at Boondock and says by Juliet, you wouldn't happen to mean her, would you? As Lucky points towards Juliet. And I think this is when you had your grand scheme. If you want to explain?
No.
You sure? You sure you want to explain what you did?
No.
You want to let me explain what you did?
No. Can we just skip this part?
How about I explain this instead? So, here's what happened. Juliet, using all 2 brain cells, has the best idea. I know what'll get me out of this. A spell I haven't used before. And so, Juliet decides to kind of put on her best winning smile, kind of lean down a little bit in just a mildly seductive pose, and just kind of look at Lucky with all the charm and charisma that she can muster, as Juliet decides to cast Charm Person on Lucky. Now,
a satyr, mind you.
First things first, Lucky is a satyr. Lucky resists any sort of magic, so Lucky has advantage on the saving throw. 2, the spell is called Charm Person. Lucky is a satyr. That means Lucky is a fae. Charm Person would fail on Lucky. And 3, because I forgot about that second rule where Charm Person just couldn't affect Lucky, I had Lucky roll his saves, and he got like a 23 or something like that. I'm like, does that save? And Izzy's like, yeah. As I say, like, okay, so you definitely just cast Charm Person on him, and as Lucky just kind of squints at you, and I direct you to the rule document I posted, I believe it was 4 months prior to that session. At the very beginning of the camp, before the campaign even started, I had a document called Laws and Rules in Phoenix Heart and, like, just generally the surrounding areas. If you look at that lore document, there's a very specific example that says charms are illegal to cast on innocents. Like, highly illegal. And so I decided to look at what my precedent was for, like, the punishments for it, and I read out the thing that I had said before session 1. And before it, it says, any guild member who is caught casting Charm Person on an innocent can be easily, dismissed from their guild and be sentenced to severe jail time. So, as I explain this to the players, Lucky just kind of looks at you, blinks, and just says, so, you didn't just try to cast Charm Person on me, as Juliet's kind of like, come on, you don't have to, like, you don't have to, like, really jail me for, like,
okay, no. Wait. Hold the fuck up. I did not read the rules. I will admit that full fucking heartedly. I did read the rules, I skimmed them, to be completely fair. When you told me that, I felt my heart fucking sink into my stomach, and I was like, oh, shit. As soon as Lucky caught me, I was like, okay, look, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Yes, I did cast that. Yes, I am sorry. I'm gonna go sit in this jail cell that's broken because I think the Kieran broke it. And she literally goes and sits in this wide open jail cell.
Oh, yeah. You were saying, like, the come on, you don't have to, like, be, like, put me in jail before Lucky immediately said, like, so you didn't just cast Charm Person on me then.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I explained all of that. And I also explained to you after the session, here's another reason why Charm Person wouldn't have worked. What Charm Person causes is that, if you charm someone, they are friendly towards you. Lucky already considers you an acquaintance, and Lucky's already friendly towards you. Yeah. That doesn't mean that he's going to not jail you if you commit a major crime.
You know, I didn't know what I was thinking. To be honest, just,
Yeah, so now I'm left reeling as a dungeon master, because originally what I had planned was I was going to say, okay, you have to, there's a fine of 800 gold, but you guys need to, get along with your mission, so just 800 gold and just say you're sorry and we'll brush us all under the rug here. But then you up the ante by committing a federal crime. Yeah, fucking Boondock is staring you down, Lucky's staring you down, as, like, both of them kind of start to deliberate between themselves because they kind of realize, like, this needs to be a severe punishment, and, like, it needs to be, like, kind of big, but also, like, we don't really want to ruin Juliet's character here and, like, put her in jail for the rest of her life. So, they go on to explain this. They kind of figure out, like, we do need Juliet because, like, she's one of the few people who can help stop the shapeshifter, but, like, we're gonna have a pretty severe penalty, and here's what we're going to do. They force you to give up all of your non-essential possessions for the mission. And so, all of the gold you had saved from this big session, especially all the gold you got from, like, the loot hoard that you found, I believe it was close to, like, 1,000 gold or something like that. You lost all of your gold.
All of it.
All of, like, your magic, besides your main magic weapon and, like, one katana, one dagger, you had to give up the rest of your items that you had also stored throughout the rest of the sessions and, like, hand them out. And so Lucky explains that as, like, you were giving up most of your possessions, Lucky explains, like, well, the town of Hope's Landing could use, like, the gold in the coffers, but, like, we're not really gonna use these, like, items and stuff like that. So, Lucky kind of, like, pushes the items towards Boondock and says, like, you can distribute these amongst your friends how you so please. And I was going to have Lucky explain, like, and also, if you decide to give them back to Juliet, like, as long as you do it out of eyesight of me, like, I won't fucking tell. If you won't fucking tell, I'll have no way of knowing. And so, but, like, Boondock goes on to explain, like, nope, I'm gonna gather up all the party members, bring them out into the sheriff's office and explain that, alright, Juliet's committed a federal crime here, and as such, she's been forced to give up most of her possessions, so we get to lay dibs on most of her items here.
Well, before that, I'd like to point out a really good moment, too. When I was setting out all of my stuff, I even took out this cowboy hat that we all went and got cowboy hats before the big mission of going to the mines of Mr. Salt. And I started setting them down, and Boondock was like, no, you can keep that. And I was like, I don't deserve this. I literally just committed a federal crime. How would I be deserving of this? He's like, well, can you get it back? Like, you think you can... What did he say?
Do you think you can earn it back?
Earn it back, that's what it was. And I was like, well, I'd like to try at least, and then he puts it right back on my head, and I was like, ah!
Yeah. So you remove everything from your character sheet, and Boondock places it all on the desk of Lucky's office. And Boondock explains again, so federal crime, everyone gets to lay dibs on some of Juliet's stuff, and Boondock then says, okay, I'm going to take this, as Boondock takes all of the items that are on the desk. And then turns to you, Juliet, and says, alright, now this is a gift from me to you. As Boondock hands you back all of your shit.
I literally cried. I was like, yes, my shit! Because honestly, most of the stuff was just like little trinkets and trophies that she's like got from just their adventures thus far.
Oh man.
Yeah. I was so thankful. And then he took me by the shoulders and was like, you ever touch Lucky again, I'll kill you. I'm like, no, that's totally fine. I completely understand. I am so sorry. It will never happen again.
Yeah. So we have this, like, just emotionally traumatizing moment for Juliet.
Yep.
As the day progresses a little bit longer, and Faith gets the package that has all the outfits and stuff on it. And so she explains, like, these, like, winter ponchos, and, like, she can enchant them with illusion magic in order to look like whatever you guys choose to. So all of you guys pick, like, these wintry outfits and stuff like that. Like, Boondock gets a leather duster, you get, like, a big jacket with, like, puffy mittens. Hops gets a little, like, dinosaur onesie.
Yes.
And Essen decides to get a Spanish poncho, I believe.
Yes. I think Boondock just give me what I normally wear. Straight up.
That's what Boondock said in character, but Boondock's player was eventually just like, oh, you know what? I think a leather jacket's just cool, so give Boondock a leather jacket. Everyone gets, like, the winter gear up. As Faith is handing you the outfit, she's kind of, like, pauses for a second as if she's expecting something from you, but of course Juliet's not going to apologize.
Hell no.
Yeah.
She ain't gonna apologize for shit, man. Unless given a reason, I think. But at that moment in time, she was still pissed off. So she was like, "No, I ain't saying shit to you, man. Nope."
Yeah. So at least there's no consequences for this now, and there probably won't be one in the future, right? Yeah, no. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you straight up right now. If Cass finds out about this event,
Cass has no fucking room to talk after that. I'm allowed to lash out after the shit he pulled. That's fine. I don't care if Cass finds out.
I mean, sure. You can try it. You can see what happens then. Fuck around and find out.
I'll fucking tell Cass. How about that? I'm gonna call him up right now and be like, oh, wait, I can't.
As soon as you guys got all your supplies now, you got a wagon to take you guys up there, and you realize that you guys can start heading out pretty soon here. So the townsfolk, most of them kind of gather up to say goodbye to Boondock. Maud is about to like just kind of say like this big like goodbye to Boondock, but eventually just decides against it and just decides to wrap Boondock up in a big hug before just telling them to go out there and raise some hell. And so Lucky also decides to say goodbye to Juliet. And as Lucky like walks up to you and says like, oh hey, like I hope there's no hard feelings like between us, because like, you know, that was kind of a rough whole thing there. Juliet very awkwardly shakes his hand, but just like is looking at Boondock like, he approached me first.
Literally, she was like, please get away from me. I don't want to talk to you. You're going to get me killed. Please stop.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and then I think that is where we stopped, because then we pretty much just saddled up in the wagon and headed off to Soliana.
Yeah, so this is honestly 2 sessions worth of content, but just like having a nice little downtime was nice for you guys to just interact with each other in like lower stakes environments, and like you just get to kind of like hang out and chill and kind of get to know each other a little bit and get to make some horrible mistakes.
Damn, dude. I don't know if Juliet would ever go back to Hope's Landing unless they absolutely had to, because I think she honestly felt bad about doing that to Lucky. And I feel like, I don't know, because I remember the scene where Ma Boondock was telling them, if any of you need a place to stay or to hide or whatever, you always have a place in Hope's Landing. And Juliet did not meet her gaze at the end of that, and I was like,
Yeah, I know. It's definitely very interesting because like it's one of the it's a redeeming factor about Juliet, because like, you know, she'll raise some shit, she'll do some stupid things, but like she does feel guilty about like some of the shit she pulls. Yeah, no, that is actually pretty interesting though, that like Juliet just feels way too guilty about the whole thing to like go back. Oh man.
I mean, wouldn't you? You literally committed a federal crime against an innocent man.
That's fair.
And like, what would you even say?
That's
like,
fair.
I don't know what I would do. I'd be like, nope, never going back there again. Okay.
Oh man. Yeah, should we wrap this thing up then? I think that's about a real long talk about downtime. Yeah, so thank you all for listening to another episode of PhoenixChat. Hope you guys enjoyed our first retelling of Juliet's biggest fuck up. Yeah. We unfortunately, I don't think in the future we have like too many extremely big fuck ups like this one, but hey, I mean, given it is Juliet, so I mean,
there's like 2. There's
for
like
now.
2 for now. For now, yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, PhoenixChat, yay!